What if an ancient biblical mystery is unfolding in American politics right now? Could the rise of a dark trinity be shaping our culture and government today? Is there a prophetic pattern behind presidents, elections, and the spiritual turning of a nation? Today, New York Times bestselling author Jonathan Cahn is here to reveal his most explosive prophetic revelations to date. But first, watch this.
Is there more to the world than meets our eyes? Could the most powerful figures of our age be fulfilling the roles of an ancient blueprint? Is it possible that behind the events of our time is an ancient mystery transforming our lives? Could the realm of ancient mythology be colliding into our present reality? Are there actually avatars in the world today, even in the realm of government? Leaders impacting nations, even America, and holding an ancient secret. Have they even altered elections? #1 New York Times bestselling author Jonathan Cahn, author of 10 bestsellers, including The Harbinger, The Return of the Gods, and The Dragon's Prophecy, now releases what may be his most explosive book yet, The Avatar, The Return of the Ancients, and the Future of America.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to SkyWatch Television. I'm Joe Artis Horn, and let me tell you straight away, you are in for a royal treat. Today's special guest is filled with revelation that he's about to reveal. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Jonathan Cahn.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Before we hit the ground running and we dive straight into your new book, let me bring this up on the screen. I'm talking about The Avatar, The Return of the Ancients, and the Future of America. First, Jonathan, thank you so much for being here today. You always show up with things that often began deeply seated in ancient times. Revelations that Bible scholars and people that are self-identified and proclaimed prophets and so forth have missed for decades and decades and decades. And how you do this over and over and over again is always mind-boggling to me. Do you guys not find it astonishing? He comes back almost annually with something that the world has never heard before. This new book is no exception, Jonathan. Let's dive straight in. Give us an idea of just some of the things that the Avatar reveals.
Yeah, the Avatar is pulling the veil really behind everything that's happening from the cultural realm, the political realm. You mentioned it. It is most likely the most explosive book. I've written some explosive books, but this is because it's taking, I shared on The Return of the Gods, and it's taking it to another level where actually it's converging with the government, with actual people. We'll get into it. I know the avatars. Could there be people who are actually embodying these things that are on here? An ancient mystery from the Bible, a template that reveals the leaders who are on the stage, who rises and who falls on the American stage, so specific it gives exact dates. I mean, and it will go up to Donald Trump and what's happening right now. I will say this because those who are watching right now know this. We've gone through trauma in America with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. That is even part of this warfare where there are spiritual things involved. I will just throw this in. And this isn't hype and it isn't conspiracy. There was actually witchcraft involved. There was actually a spell came on that was cast on him. That was on the web, a curse put on him by witches. I speak about in the book. Now, the Avatar came out the same week, was the week leading up to this. Wow. And I speak actually about this very phenomenon, which is assassination, all that. There is a war. So it's explosive, it's real, and also the prophetic moment we are in right now. So the Avatar is going to open up. Really, it's pulling a veil behind all that.
Wow. Well, let's dive right in because we're going to be hard-pressed for time to even get all of it in. But in the Avatar, you share something that you've never before written about, Jonathan, your encounters with the gods. You write of something strange that happened when you sounded the shofar, the biblical trumpet in India. What was that about?
Yeah, well, I was asked to go to India and to walk in the footsteps of the Apostle Thomas because the believers of India traced their faith from the tradition that Thomas came and gave it. So as a Jewish person, I was asked to go there. Now, he was killed by the tradition on this mountain, martyr, and they asked me to go up that mountain and try not to get killed because it was a radical time when Christians were being killed. It was radical Hinduism took over. So it was the most dangerous thing I ever did. And the thing is that by the second day, me and my team were almost killed. I mean, by the second day. They took us to the Taj Mahal. And we're coming back, and it's it's fog. Deep, deep fog. And the Indian driver is racing through the fog. Racing. And all along the road, we're seeing these overturned cars, accidents, but overturned carts, trucks. I've never seen anything like it. Then we crash into the truck in front of us. The truck drags the car. We're going back and forth, almost overturned. By miracle, we didn't. Now, after I'm looking, and in Hindu writings, it talks about Krishna, the trickster god. And the miracle, the thing that he did was, against his enemies, he turned over wheeled vehicles for course.
Oh.
And the thing is, the place where he did it, according to the mythology, was the road we were on. That was his birthplace. And it was the link between mythology. But this is not mythology that almost killed us. This was the spiritual realm, which the Bible speaks about. Now, I won't go through. We were almost killed throughout the entire journey. At the end, I'm standing in front of thousands of Indians at night, and I decided to sound the shofar. And this is the sound of God's power. I sounded. I don't know what happens. It's like a wave comes back. If you can imagine being at an exorcism, but multiply it by mass, like a mass exorcism, people screaming, blood as if mass spirits are departing. Now it turns out, God said in the Bible, when you're in warfare, sound the shofar, sound the trumpet. I'll hear, and you'll have victory against your enemy. The enemy will flee. Well, for thousands of years, ages, Jewish people have sounded the shofar for the enemy to flee, and also at exorcisms. Now, the people in India are not reading that. Those people weren't reading the Bible or Jewish history.
Right.
So I saw the real intersection of the gods and real spirits, and I saw this all over the world.
Sure.
Cuba. Fidel Castro opened the island of Cuba for 1 month to allow Christians to go across the island. The Christians asked me to come and open it up with the sound of the trumpet and minister throughout the island. I'm in a place called Orientes, and there's a mountain on top of the city where they worship the gods. They have idols, gods, sacrifices, curses, and there's a pavilion on top a house where they have all the idols. Well, I said, I guess I'm going up. I'm going up the next day with the mountain with my team, and I brought the trumpet, the shofar. I get up, I see the house of the gods. In front of it is a man. He calls out to me. I don't know the guy, but it sounds like he knows me. He comes up to me. He says, "I've been waiting for you." And he has in his hand a ceramic plate, and on the plate is a painting. It's a painting of me, and it's a painting of me sounding the shofar, the trumpet, which I had in my hand. And the thing is, he says, no. He says, I'm a believer. He said, God told me to paint that painting. He told me to put it in the house of the gods. And he says, that night something happened. The new leather strap broke apart, tore apart. It came down, struck the head of the idol, the chief god of Cuba. The next morning, the worshipers opened up their house, and they find their chief god on the floor. Sounds like a biblical story. God is real. On the floor, and there was a crown on this god. The crown was removed. And next to it was this Jewish guy in a plate with a trumpet, and you could see where it was chipped. It was the shofar that took off the crown of the idol. And the thing is that the word came down the mountain, and we heard afterwards there was revival in the city. People are coming to the churches, bringing their idols and their gods, and saying, "Smash the idols." We heard what happened on the mountaintop. Wow. And so this warfare between these are real, this is a reality. And by the way, I didn't mention, in India, after that mass exorcism, I gave a call to salvation. About 70,000 Indian people prayed to receive the Lord.
Wow.
So the thing is, I set the stage in the Avatar, this and in other nations as well. But this ultimately has to do with America and the gods, and has to do with where we are right now.
Just going to say, I think in your book you say that when you went to India, they wanted you to do all that because they needed a Jewish believer to go up there and break the curse, but you had to live through it in order to break it.
Well, what happened was they had me go up the mountain of Thomas, and by the way, they had commandos around me because people were being killed that day, and I was a lightning rod. And the thing is, I come up, there's a guy on the mountain, and he says, "I've been waiting for you." It's like, and he says that God told me a year ago on this mountain that there's a curse on India, and the mountain epitomizes it. It's the rejection of the gospel. It's Jewish shedding of Jewish blood. He said, a Jewish person has to come here. God told me, go up the mountain and not get killed. And so he was going through the whole city proclaiming that, having no idea I was coming. And by the way, I won't go through it, but why I went up the mountain is because there was somebody from Cuba who came up to me and said, we were praying, God told us on the mountains, there's a curse, the Jewish person has to go. So that was part of it. Yes.
Taking back to
and to spoiler alert, I didn't get killed.
Hallelujah.
No, this is fascinating because there's a young man we become friends with who's been following SkyWatch TV since its inception. Young Indian believer who lives in the area where Thomas was martyred.
Yes.
And
Yes,
he has talked
that's
about
it.
the revival that has broken out there. So,
That's
and
it.
we've been exchanging notes back and forth
Yeah.
about the gods of India
Yes.
and the connection to the old Mesopotamian gods of the time of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob,
Yes.
and how they were shared back and
Yeah.
forth. I won't say his name
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he's got to be kind of careful.
It's real.
But
It was Madras or Chennai. That's the south
Yes,
of India.
exactly.
And,
Yes.
and by the way, when I went up to the top of the mountain, I didn't plan on talking about all this, but when I was up on the mountain, there's a flame there that represents Thomas's flame.
Yeah.
And they came and they took a torch and handed me the flame. And it was kind of like, the Jewish people gave the flame of the gospel 2,000 years ago, but we kind of dropped the torch. But it was like now it was like the nations were giving it back.
Oh, my goodness,
Yeah.
how wonderful.
You said
Full
something a
circle.
minute ago, Jonathan, about the gods and they're being tied into somehow what's happening now in America. For the sake
Yeah.
of time, we
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
get to this. It's
Yeah.
so important for the audience. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that, first of all, the Bible says that behind the gods that they worship are actually spirits. The word in Hebrew is shedim. That means spirits. That's not, and it's translated in the New Testament as daimoni. We get the word demon from it. So that's the first thing. And that's what I saw in the nations. But the problem is with America, we don't have no awareness of this. And so it's more dangerous because we could be affected by these things, could be affecting our culture, affecting our children, and we have no idea what we're dealing with.
Right.
And Jesus gave that parable that a man who had been possessed, he's delivered of the spirits, but he stays empty of God. And then the spirits come back and bring 7 other spirits to get repossessed, and people say, okay, that's about a guy. He says this generation is going to be like that. And the warning is this: when the gospel came in the world, it drove out the gods. The power of Messiah
Right.
drove out the gods, drove out the spirits. It was exercised. But the warning is that any nation or civilization or culture that has been delivered of these things by God, has known God, if it turns away from God, the spirits that were cast out of it will come back into it.
Yeah.
And that is what we are witnessing in our culture, the return. That's where the gods, that's what that's about, yes.
And all of this is detailed in your book, The Avatar.
Yeah.
You guys enjoy this clinic that's happening? This is real life movement of God happening right now
Yeah.
in our world. Jonathan, how did the mystery of the gods manifest in the last Olympics? And what did it mean?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, I think we remember that at the beginning of the Olympics,
Yep.
the opening ceremony, you have the Last Supper. They try to deny it was the Last Supper. But instead of Messiah and the apostles, you have men dressed up as women, gyrating. I mean, a
Exactly.
pagan thing. It was probably the most widespread act of
It was
blasphemy
so
we've ever
obvious.
seen.
Yes.
And then, on the table, Last Supper is the elements that represent the body of Messiah, the bread and the wine. Well, instead of that, they have a platter of food, and they take off the platter. Instead of something representing Jesus, you have a pagan god, Dionysus. So now think about this.
Yep.
At the beginning of the age, Jesus, the power of Messiah, Yeshua, drove out Dionysus and
Exactly. Yep.
all those gods. Now they replaced Jesus back with Dionysus, which is a real prophetic thing about what's happening in our culture. Now the thing is, there's a guy who actually did that. He replaced Jesus with Dionysus, and it provides a warning. It was in the 19th century. The guy's name was Friedrich Nietzsche.
Oh, yeah.
Friedrich Nietzsche is the one who wrote God is Dead, and he said, get rid of Christianity, get rid of God, get rid of Jesus, and he actually venerated this particular god, Dionysus. Dionysus would drive his followers to insanity.
Yep.
Nietzsche goes insane. And at the end of his writing, he starts writing, instead of signing it Nietzsche, he signs it Dionysus, as if he had been totally taken over. And the thing is, his writings go on, and one guy who picks it up is Adolf Hitler.
Yep.
And the Third Reich. And that tells you what happens, how dangerous it is for a, quote, Christian or Judeo-Christian culture to turn away from God.
Oh, for sure.
You get when Russia did it, when Germany did it,
Yeah.
and now we're watching it in our culture.
Yes, we
Yeah,
are.
the shattering of Dionysus was a massive movement that came as a side effect of the preaching of the gospel.
Yes, that's right.
And so now it's like culture is trying to reset us. No, never mind. We don't want to go that direction. We want to go back to the ancient gods and
Right.
resurrect our worship of them and give the biggest middle finger, if I can use that framework, to God the Father and the creator of the universe. As incredible as these are, it is difficult to squeeze all of the stuff that you need to get off your chest, all of the things that God has given you as a download, into one body of work, you always offer, if someone is down for it,
Yeah.
Deeper Extraction,
Yeah.
the Avatar Uncensored DVD album. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's exclusive. That you can't get that online. You can't get that on Amazon. I'd only do it like for things like SkyWatch. So the thing is that this is the uncensored version. This not only has the mystery, it has things I could not put even in there, or things that are even explosive of that. But you're not just reading it. You're going to see it. You're going to see the manifestations. You're going to see it unfold. It's 8 one-hour DVDs. People can show it in church. They can show it to their friends, and it has all sorts of mysteries that I'd never put anywhere, including the keys for the end time believer right now, and so much more. So it's real special. It's gonna be an explosion with 8 one-hour DVDs. It's the Avatar Uncensored.
In your book, you talk about a dark trinity.
Yes.
In Christianity, we of course have the wonderful Trinity of God, the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. What is the dark trinity? Is that just a negative version of that? Or?
Yeah, the enemy always has a negative. He always has a substitute version. And this is what the continuation from the return of the gods that is happening now. That when you look at when Israel turned away from God, there were 3 primary gods of their fall. And one was called, in Hebrew, means the master or the owner or the possessor. And we call him Baal. It was Baal. And that's the spirit, principality linked to a nation turning away from God to gods. Well, in America, we started driving out. It's the driving out of God. We saw that. The next one is a goddess, meaning enchantress, Ishtar, or Ashtoreth in the Bible, goddess of sexual immorality and goddess of gender confusion.
Inanna,
She says,
yes.
I am a woman, I am a man. And this is the one that says she turns men into women, women into men. One of her signs was the rainbow. Her key month of possessing a culture was June, or Pride Month. And so this has been taking over the culture as well. And the other one is Moloch, of course, that would cause his parents to offer up their children. So when you see this progression, we turned away from God, emptied it out, the house is not going to stay empty. And you've got that. So this has continued. In fact, since we first talked about these things, it continued where the point where just before this election, it was as if the gods were going to take over every institution of culture. We were at that point. People were afraid to say that there's even male or female.
No, that's right.
So that's where we were. And this is going to bring up another mystery, which has to do with the kings and the actual leaders.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we want to remind you that SkyWatch TV is a viewer-supported ministry, and right now when you partner with us, your support not only helps us stay on the air, it also enables us to continue the mission through our networks and digital platforms of reaching the areas of the world with the gospel of Jesus Christ that are unable to support us financially. When you order the new book, The Avatar, The Return of the Ancients and the Future of America, we're going to send it to you as our gift for your donation of $35 or more, which includes free shipping to all U.S. addresses. But right now, you have the opportunity to upgrade your gift to include the Avatar Uncensored 8-DVD album. Now, this 8-DVD collection expands on Jonathan Cahn's book, The Avatar, revealing uncensored content not found at Amazon or anywhere else. You'll watch mysteries unfold in real time, including prophetic insights into future events and their timing, keys to overcoming unprecedented challenges during the end times, the Ezekiel prophecy and America's role, the mysteries of the statue, Hazael, and many more. This collection is packed with never-before-seen prophetic events on film and video. The Avatar book and Avatar Uncensored 8-DVD collection holds a retail value of over $150. Yours now for your donation of $85 or more. So again, for your donation of $35 or more, you'll receive the Avatar book with free shipping to all U.S. addresses. Or you can upgrade your gift to include the Avatar book and the Avatar Uncensored 8-DVD collection for your donation of $85 or more, which again will include free shipping to all U.S. addresses. So don't delay. Order today, and remember, when you donate, you'll be helping SkyWatch TV continue reaching the world with the gospel of Jesus Christ. You can scan the QR code on your screen using the camera app on your phone for instant access to this special opportunity. You can also visit us at skywatchtvstore.com or call 1-844-750-4985 and ask for the Avatar and or the Avatar Uncensored collection right now. This is certainly not an opportunity that you're going to want to miss out on.
I have to jump in. I want to ask a question here. First of all, thank you very much for the purity in your work, because there is a mass syncretism that is blending Christianity with all kinds of pagan world religions, and right now it's being viewed in the template of progressive Christianity, and a lot of people are blind to the fact that it's actually regressive Christianity, taking us back to a very ancient syncretism that the apostles dealt with 2,000 years ago, and the Jewish community dealt with before that many, many times. So thank you for the purity of your work. But there is an ancient template of gods and of kings that is eerily replaying in our day. Please go there.
Yeah, this is one of the things the Avatar opens up and brings. It's happening to this day. And that is that it's not just when Israel turned away from God, they went to the gods, but there were kings who were part of that. There were queens who were part of that apostasy. And the amazing thing is that when you look at playing, not just generally, but specifically, in fact, the kings of this template and the queens are actually prototypes for people on the national stage right now and from this time. Example, you have a king whose name was Ahav, we call him Ahab, who was involved with a culture war, divided the nation, was a man of scandals and all, and had a very kind of strong wife in the wrong way. And so you had Bill Clinton. That is the prototype of Clinton. The same thing was a culture war. Clinton was on the national political stage for 22 years. Ahab, it says, reigned for 22 years. In the 19th year of Ahab's reign, a scandal breaks out. Well, 19th year of Clinton on the national, which is 1998, January, it starts. In that month, the scandal breaks out. And the thing is that I'm just giving you an example, when Ahab confessed, at one point he confesses to it, but then he turns back. Well, Clinton confessed months later. He actually said, I've sinned. 3 years after Ahab confessed that, the strike of an enemy comes on the land. 3 years after Clinton made his confession, a strike comes on America called 9/11. It's 3 years to the exact day of the confession, to the exact hour that he did it. Now, this is also the mystery behind Barack Obama, where you have a king called Joram, who was kind of hostile to the things of God. Well, Obama was on the national stage for exactly 12 years from the convention to Joram, 12 years. You even have Osama bin Laden, which was an enemy of Israel called Ben-Hadad, who brings the 9/11 to Israel and is assassinated in his bedroom 10 years later. And then you have Hillary Clinton. Listen, it's not about we got to pray for the people. It's not about the people. We have no enemies. But the thing is that, Jezebel was the wife of Ahab, and she was for Baal worship, which is child sacrifice. Well, Hillary Clinton was the champion, was voted the champion of abortion in America. Hillary Clinton was on the national stage with her husband for 22 years, political stage, on her own in public office or running for president, totals to 14 years. Jezebel, 22 years with Ahab, on her own, 14 years. And the thing is, we were at the point where, and with Israel and then us, that the house of Ahab was taking over every institution of culture. If it had kept going, the nation would be gone. And so with America, we're at this point where, as we said, every institution, the gods and the kings. But then God had a surprise for Israel, and God had a surprise in America. His name is Jehu. And Jehu is going to be the mystery of Donald Trump for America. Jehu was wild, unpredictable. You never knew what he was going to do next, say next. We believe he had a Twitter account, but we can't prove it. And so this is the mystery of Donald Trump. Let me say something I didn't even. You remember when Donald Trump began his thing? He came down he was on top of the stairs. He came down, started the race. Jehu was on top of the stairs, came down, and began the race. Same thing. Jehu makes an alliance with the religious conservatives of the land. Donald Trump makes an alliance with the religious evangelicals of America. Jehu's agenda for the capital city was to drain the swamp. Trump drained the swamp. In order for Jehu to come to power, he had to contend against the nation's former first lady, which in that case was Jezebel. In this case, it was Hillary Clinton. Now, all the polls were saying Hillary Clinton was going to trounce him, but the mystery says no, the Jehu will prevail. And that's exactly, you want to understand Donald Trump, it's that. You understand even what's happening to this second, we'll get to it in the next program. It is this mystery, it is totally Jehu.
Well, thankfully, we have more than just this one installation with Jonathan Cahn, but it's all right here in the book, The Avatar, a masterpiece. I'm having a hard time keeping up. Are you guys following all of this incredible information? I told Jonathan before we started, I said, man, you're going to have to talk quick because we got a lot of ground to cover. Jonathan, with just a few minutes left on the clock, what do the king and queen have to do with the mystery of Jehu, Donald Trump, in the last 3 American presidential elections?
Yeah, as we know, there's been a lot of controversy over the elections and a lot of theories and all that.
For
but,
sure,
but
yeah.
beyond all that, there's something bigger.
Okay.
The template of Jehu, and we began to touch it, the template of Jehu is to come to power, he does 2 things. First, he comes against the sitting king at the time. Then a woman arises in place of the king. In the biblical template, it's Joram. He actually comes head-to-head with Joram, actually slays Joram, and then comes a woman in place of, which is Jezebel, who then has an anti-biblical agenda. He contends against her, and he prevails. Okay, that's the template of Jehu coming to power. Well, in 2016, it was the template of Jehu. First, if you remember, Trump came against Obama. That was his first big thing. Then a woman with an anti-biblical agenda rises up in his place, which was Hillary Clinton. He prevails against her, he contends, and he wins. Okay. Now, 2020, it's a whole different thing. You don't have the template of Jehu. He's in power. There's no king to go. And he doesn't prevail. He doesn't prevail. But in 2024, the template of Jehu resurrects. And so now, first thing, he comes against the sitting king or president, Biden. He comes head-to-head, just like in the Bible, face-to-face, but it's a debate, and he politically slays Biden. That's the end of Biden's political career, just like Jehu slayed Joram. But then a woman has to arise who has to have an anti-biblical agenda. And so a woman arises, which is Kamala Harris, with an anti-biblical agenda, abortion, all those things. And so he contends against her, and according to the template, he has to prevail. And so that is why he prevailed in 2016, not in 2020, but in 2024. It's all the template and mystery of Jehu.
And we've only just begun what is going to be 3 episodes on the Avatar with Jonathan Cahn. Jonathan, with just a couple of minutes left, let's kind of tease what we're going to try to get into next week.
Yeah, if you can kind of believe it, we're going to actually open up the mystery of Joe Biden. He's actually in the ancient template. I mean, amazingly. Even the mystery of Kamala Harris is in the template. I mean, incredibly. What is happening with Trump right now, explaining everything that's happening right now in our government, and the mystery of that. And we may begin to touch also on avatars, because I know the last thing we'll do is going to open up. It's going to get increasingly explosive. I'll just give a warning.
Yes.
and it's going to be on something that's just mind blowing. Yeah.
And I know that there are people out there right now watching this program, and they're thinking, okay, if this template has been so accurate in the past, what might it tell us? What might it inform us about moving forward into the future? And so hang with us, because we're going to start unpacking some of that over the next couple of weeks. Jonathan, with just a minute left, give us your final thoughts as we ready for next week.
Yeah. Well, the amazing thing is this thing just keeps unfolding. And, and what it's saying is that, listen, God is over everything. God is in control. That's what it's about. You know, when God writes a scripture, he knows every event of human history. And that's going to apply to it. So one of the things that this is telling us is, one, he wants to give revelation to us, you know, to make things very clear. Where are we? What we're dealing with. And also to tell us, listen, no matter what happens in the world, he is in control. Every single thing. I mean, even 9/11, even Osama bin Laden, even the evil, even the agenda against him, he's in control of it. And at the end, we do win. You know, we do prevail. And that's true. I mean, you know, there are things that are, whoa, like that. But it's also, listen, remember, it's telling you your God is on the throne, and greater is he in you than he and all this in the world.
I hate it, but we're out of time. But don't despair. Next week, Jonathan Cahn returns to talk about a prophetic pattern from the past that may have foretold the outcomes of the last 3 presidential elections. Jonathan, thank you once again for being here this week. I'm Joe Artis Horn. Keep your eyes on the prize, which is Jesus Christ. We'll be back. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, but we're out of time. But don't despair. Next